Well, I've just got back from Spain, and personally, I had a great World Championships for the Masters, the first ever one Masters World Championships. It was a great event. 12 teams entered for the first time, and it's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And we had a great set of life. It was a fantastic week. It was an education being with him. We all got on, and everything like that. And team come forth, and we just missed out, and probably a little bit of lack of experience, and the fact that we didn't find the method well the last day. It changed every day, but in the end, I came second individual, and on the first day I caught 446 fish, and on the second day I caught 450 fish. So basically, that's a lot of fish in 5 hours fishing. In other words, it was like one and a half a minute. And I've been asked loads and loads of times, how the hell do you catch 450 fish in 5 hours? Well, it wasn't feeder fishing as we know it. It wasn't feeder fishing really. It was speed fishing with a feeder. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, because I've been asked, I'm going to show you the tactics and how we caught them. And a lot of it was, like I said, it wasn't feeder fishing. A lot of bites we never saw that the fish were on, but there was an art in it. There's always an art to catching fish, and there was even an art to catch between 300 fish and 450 fish, and that's what you needed to do. And so it was as simple as this. When we started off in the week, the fish were out, and all these little crassios, which what they were like, they averaged about 47, 48 grams, which is not even 2 ounce, and they were all over the place, topping. And on the third day of training, we caught them at 6 metres, and we were learning to catch them at 6 metres. And on the last day, on the Friday before, they were all here, they were all close. So how did I catch all them 450 fish? So this is my little setup. And all we had basically, we had bloodworm, joker, we had all the baits, all the feeders, we got everything, and that's all that I needed that were there. This is not the identical ground bait we used, but the ground bait we used was Sensus Lake, Sensus Gioli, and lads riddled it and got all the big bits out, so it made a nice cloud. And it were a really nice cloud, so when it hit the water, it were coming off as it were going off the feeder as it were falling through. And basically, you could put joker in that if you wanted, or you didn't. I don't think it made any difference whatsoever. And the only thing we used were a few maggots for the hook. You'd think with fishing 3 and 4 metres out that we'd use 9 and 10 foot rods because it's quite close, but it wasn't right. 11 foot and 12 foot rods were by far the better. I don't know whether they're a bit more powerful and it were easier to swing all these fish in. I don't know, but it were definitely, I used 11 foot rod. And I used 11 foot rod, and we used braid. And we used braid because we could feel the fish bite. So all we've got on is a 2 metre shock leader. So you've got a little bit of give in it, and it just worked right. I don't know, it wasn't quite right using braid direct to the hook. It were almost too violent, if that makes sense, and you need a little bit of a cushion. So we had 2 metre shock leaders. Then all we did, we had a little feeder, and international rules between the feeder and the hook, it's got to be a minimum 50 centimetres. So all I did, I just had a running feeder. Your feeders have got to be running all the time. It runs onto the bead and the feeder. Now the feeder were really important. Anybody that knows me knows I love plastic feeders, solid plastic feeders, and normally I'd use that little smooth hound there, but I didn't. I used that one. It's a smooth hound with its weight forward, and it's got the mesh on. And it's got the mesh on because I wanted it to come out as it were going through the water. It were far superior. On the first day I used a 15 gram, but it were better using a 20. And on the second day I changed that to a 20 gram. It was just a little bit more solid, like it hit the bottom differently, and it were a little bit more positive. So a 21 gram. That just run onto a little bead like that. The hook length, now this is going to surprise you, I'm sure. The hook was a size 12. Now these fish were 2 ounce, but a 12, I just used a special feeder from a Guru one, size 12. The hook length, 0.18. It made no difference, but the hook size did. With 14, you bumped an odd fish, and an odd fish come come off when you're swinging it in. And all we did basically then, I got the hook and I got a maggot. And all I did, you thread it on. And you just put it between the two eyes and you press the hook in and you just turn it on like that, so it's actually threaded towards the point. Now that was really important because you never miss a bite. It's that makes them rattle on the rod end. Now you think we might change that pretty regular. You caught as many fish as you could on that, and it was really important that. And the best bait, and I didn't work it out well the second day, were a bit of skin. It were miles better. A bit of skin. I wish I'd have realised that first day, because I think it would have my section. And sometimes you think, that's not right. It's horrible. A bit of skin, it's just horrible. But it were perfect. And I wish now I'd actually busted it, because you got a bite quicker on a skin than you did a fresh maggot. I don't know why or whether it were lighter and it fell slower. I'm not quite sure. So that's my setup. It's a simple little setup. But it wasn't that caught the fish. This was the idea. Now you can see from straight in my reel, I haven't cleaned anything. That's all ground bait and everything like that. And it's a right mess. And I had to clean it both after the first day, and I just haven't left it since. But because I'm only fishing 2, 3, 4 metres, right, you've still got to perform a cast. In international rules, you've still got to take the bail arm off and perform a cast. But what were important is the way that feeder hit the water. I had to give like a little cast and make it hit the water. And the idea now is there's no rod rest. I'm going to hold the rod and everything like that. And all I'm going to do then, I'm going to swing it in, I'm going to get my feeder, and I'm just going to touch it. Now the ground bait was a little bit on the soft side, right, so it made a cloud as it went through the water. And then as I let it go, I took the bail arm off like that so I could make a cast. And I just let it go and lifted it up, plop, on the water. It went to the bottom and I'm watching the tip. And then if I got a bite instantly like that, and I did lots, you could pick up. And if I didn't get a bite, I'd lift it and put it back down. I'd try and move yes, I know I moved the feeder. I know I did. I'm first to admit it. I've never moved it as much in my life. 6 inches. And if it didn't work, you just lifted it up like that, and most times there'd be one on. And the trouble was, because of the length of the hook length, the 50 centimetres, what were happening is they were picking it up just sitting there. So by lifting it, they just lift it like that and it'd go, and there'd be one on. And you just pick it in and swing it in. And then when you swung it in, like that, what I did, I lifted my arm up because I wanted a little bit more length. And I catch the fish, and there's a reason for this now, is look at the feeder. Look where the feeder is. Unhook the fish, keep the rod in an upright position, and just look where the feeder is. Unhook the fish, put it in the net, grab my feeder into the ground bait, like that, all in one swoop. Let it go, plop, to the bottom. To the bottom, it's at the bottom. I'm looking for any kind of indication. If it moves, I'll lift it 6 inches, like that, and I want the rod to go like that and rattle. And if it rattled, I just swung the fish in. So lots of time like that, swing it in, like that, and you catch a roach like that sometimes. And then if you look at that now, where the feeder is, now because I haven't swung it in right, that feeder's too far away, so I've got to learn. I learned that that's what you got to do. Catch it like that, catch the fish, put it in the net. As I put it in the net, look where the feeder is, straight into the thing. Now that doesn't happen if that bow isn't right, and then it's the bow of the length of line is perfect to just do that, let it off to the bottom, like that. Look at your tip, you haven't got one, pull it 6 inches, 10 seconds, that's all it was, 10 seconds, pull it. If it wasn't on, like that's one on, swing it in, like that. Look where my arm's going now, like that. Look at my arm, so look where my feeder is. And it's all a case. When I said to you, there's an art in it, that was the art. Go like that, straight into the fish, out, bail arm off, plop, to the bottom, and that's all that I did. And I never put the rod on the rod rest. I was holding it all the time because I was working it all the time like that. I'm working the thing. And you got a little bite, but then missed it, so I put it back down. So you put it back down like that, and sometimes when you think it's come too close, you go like that, and you have to recast. And again, look at that. That were really important. That length of line is a bit longer, so the feeder is hanging over the ground bait, so I can go straight back out, plop. And it's a routine, and you're getting in the routine. Now, I didn't learn all this while second day, really. And like I said to you, we're learning all the time. 10 seconds, just pull it, move it, just like that. And that's what you're trying to do all the time. But what you've got to remember is there was a ball of fish. And if you see my YouTube video of the ball of fish, you can't believe it. And these fish were following it down. And all the time I'm moving it like that. And you won't believe how many times I haven't seen a bite and I've picked up and I've just moved it like that and it's gone rattle, picked it up like that. There you go, swung it in. Look with my armies, it's up in the air because I want that line a bit longer so that when I go that it's over my ground bait, into that, straight in, and it's a routine out, and that's all I'm trying to do. And we were learning this while we were doing the competitions, and that's how I caught 450 fish each day, just by getting into that routine. But the trouble is, it's not something that we do naturally. It's not something that I've ever done before. So we're actually learning little techniques and little tweaks like that, just to speed us up during the competition. But all I can say is, and if we didn't get one, it was back to that routine. Just come in and just get through like that, ground bait in quickly and plop. It was making that little plop when it hits the water was really important, because that ball of fish then went like that down onto it. It was just a great, it were actually boring at the end, but there was still a technique how to do it. And at the end of the day, you just had to get your head down and try and beat everybody. Lift it, drop it. Only move it slightly, but because of the braid, you can feel the fish on the end. You could feel them. And with that, if it had been nylon, you wouldn't have got that same feeling, but it was just right. And that's how I caught 450 fish each day and got myself a little silver medal to go on with.